Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Saturday, December 17th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Peach Bowl game against Georgia is in 14 days. The game against Michigan in 343 days. Early signing day is in 4 days. So this is a very busy time in the recruiting world. And transfer portal day is seemingly every day. So it is an even crazier time in that world. And today, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking transfer portal. We've obviously talked about the three players who have left Ohio State via the portal, at least as of the time we're recording this. But today we're going to be talking about some of the guys who Ohio State might bring in via that portal. My guest today is Alex Gleitman of BuckeyeHuddle.com. He has been killing it on the recruiting beat pretty much the entire recruiting season, and now he's been very busy on the transfer portal beat as well. Alex, this is as crazy a December as I can remember, both on and off the field. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been absolutely wild from November 26th, when they lost the game, to now. The series of events between recruiting and making the playoff and players opting out or players being hurt, and it's been wild. I mean, selfishly, I guess, Tom, we can't really ask for a better situation to be covering an Ohio State beat as a site. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting, and I think, it hasn't been all doom and gloom. There's been some really good things happening, and I think some really good things are ahead too.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a the team is in the college football playoff and 2 wins away from a national championship. How bad could it really be? I think is sort of one way to look at things. There has been lots of talk about the guys leaving Ohio State, and then looking ahead to next year, there are some definite positions where you feel like Ohio State could probably use an immediate infusion of talent. One of those is at cornerback, and maybe one of the most discussed players in the portal this year is Fentrell Cypress II. He's a cornerback from the University of Virginia. And Alex, he seems like someone who Ohio State has probably right at the top of their list in the portal right now.
Yeah, from what I understand, they offered pretty early after he went into the portal, and there's been mutual interest, high mutual interest. I don't think it's a done deal by any means. I think he's visiting Florida State, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend. I would love for him to try to get to Ohio State for me to feel really good about their chances. But I don't know, is he a player that's going to take his time, maybe take some early January visits when things open up after the dead period closes at the end of this weekend? I don't know. Is he going to try to make a decision before that? From what I know, he has not been to Ohio State yet. So I think that's a really important piece of this puzzle. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I have the best Fentrell Cypress information in this country, because I don't. I just know that there's high mutual interest between the parties, and I'm sitting here waiting for a visit to happen. So I think that that's really important if Ohio State fans want this to happen. But what I will say is this. I understand, the Michigan game, a couple other times this year, the cornerback play has not been ideal. That said, I feel like I don't think that that's the biggest need on this team heading into next year. I know that sounds crazy, but I think, I personally, Jordan Hancock, I think is going to be an absolute stud. He was hurt for a lot of this year. He never really played, so getting that experience that he got that back half of the year when he was healthy, I think is going to pay dividends toward his development. I think J.K. Johnson, some of the experience he got, kind of like a little baptism by fire this year. Same with Jair Brown a little bit. Cam Brown's, I think likely gone, obviously, but Denzel Burke, I know, did not, call it the sophomore slump, whatever you want. He was really good last year. He didn't have the best year this year. He was hurt a little bit, but I still have faith that Denzel Burke could be a really good player. So those are 4 guys right there, not to mention anyone else they have coming in or already had on the roster, like Ryan Turner, etc. I don't think that cornerback is they need to get a transfer cornerback. But if they do believe Fentrell Cypress is a guy who could come in right away and start and be a legit CB1 for them next year, without a doubt, or even a cornerback 2, a rock-solid veteran presence in that room, I think you go out and get him for sure.
Yeah, I think I did a show maybe a week ago on, 3 positions where I thought Ohio State might go chasing someone in the portal, and it was corner, offensive line, and safety. And those are 3 spots where it seemed like, whether it was not necessarily emergency, absolutely have to fill a hole, but more, hey, the depth there, maybe not, we'll see. So yeah, I think cornerback falls somewhere on that list. But, based on how aggressive Ohio State has been at this next position in the portal, it feels like they think maybe offensive line might be their biggest position of need this cycle, because they have gone after a couple offensive linemen in the portal. The first one is a transfer from University of Rhode Island, the Rams, maybe the next Lamar Odom, who knows. His name is Johnny Cornelius. He is again, an offensive lineman, and he is another one of those guys who, you look at his list of offers and his list of, the list of places he has the opportunity to visit, and it is a number of places significantly more famous for football than Rhode Island is. So let people know a little bit about Johnny Cornelius, and also where he might fit in at Ohio State if he does transfer there.
Yeah, so I mean, I think offensive tackle is, for me, the number one need in the portal for Ohio State. They're going to lose Paris Johnson. They're going to lose DeJuan Jones. So they need to fill 2 tackle spots. And right now I only see Josh Fryer as like a surefire guy who could plug in at one of those tackle spots. So I definitely think the portal's a good option here. Johnny is a kid who I've known for, I don't know, probably like 5-6 years at this point. I'm based in New Jersey, used to live in New York City, and covered a lot of those New York City kids. He's a kid from Harlem, was a Harlem Jet, and then went on to play at Archbishop Stepinac in the New York City Catholic High School Football League. He's always been a great kid. He signed with Rhode Island and really just went there and crushed it. His first year was 2020, the COVID year. I think he started one game, but ended up taking the red shirt, which was a free year anyway for him. And then the last 2 years, he started all 11 games, so 22 games the last 2 years at right tackle for Rhode Island, which has become actually a pretty good FCS program. And he's completely blown up Penn State, Oregon, Tennessee, Nebraska, like so many big-time schools. And Ohio State, Justin Fries visited him twice. The second visit this week, they offered him. I still think this is in the exploratory phase for both sides. They're bringing him in on an official visit this week. He'll be at Tennessee on Friday, and then into Saturday, and then he'll be at Ohio State Saturday into Sunday. So I truly think this is a two-way interview. I think Ohio State wants to get to know him a little bit more. By the way, this kid, A-plus character, like, there's going to be zero questions about his character. I think sizing him up in person, just, getting to see if he has that, like, everyone wants to hear that dog in him, right? And is he tough? Is he a tough guy? I think that those are the types of things that Ohio State's going to want to see this weekend and hear and like get him on the board and watch film and like see what he understands and things like that. But definitely a really nice player. Is he going to end up at Ohio State? I don't know, but I think we'll know a little bit more after this weekend. And I think I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but just because of my background with him and my connections to the people close to him with this decision, I think we'll have better information than anyone on Buckeye Huddle around a Johnny Cornelius. Well,
that is definitely going to be one to watch, and as you said, quite possibly the biggest position of need for Ohio State. And you can, this is one of these watch what they do and not what they say things, because they can say they feel comfortable, but if you're in the portal and you're shopping for multiple guys at one position group, that tells me maybe you're not as comfortable with it as you're stating publicly. And the third guy I wanted to talk to you about is another offensive lineman, Jeremiah Byers. He's out of UTEP. Not quite as close to your neighborhood as a Johnny Cornelius, but let us know a little bit about Jeremiah Byers.
Yeah, so he signed, I think, as like a 3-star defensive tackle from the Austin, Texas area. Ended up becoming a pretty decent offensive tackle for them. He's, like a Johnny, has blown up Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State. Some big-time schools have come in and offered him. So clearly, coaches have liked what they've seen on film. Honestly, didn't know a ton about him until they offered him the other day. Looked him up a little bit. I'm told he is also supposed to come in for an official visit this weekend. So looks like, they're trying to make a move on both of these guys. I haven't really connected too much with Jeremiah yet. I want to understand his decision timeline a little bit more. I know Johnny's trying to make a decision by Christmas. So we should know at least on one of these two pretty soon. But I think, you bring in these two guys. Ohio State's hit rates on official visits are usually, especially these types of like smaller, intimate weekends, is usually pretty good. And a transfer player is not screwing around and just taking visits for the sake of taking visits. They're taking visits to schools that they're legitimately interested in. So I know Florida State, I think, gotten a visit from Jeremiah. Oregon is getting one this weekend with Ohio State as well. So obviously great competition there. Maybe, depending on, I don't know what those other rosters look like, maybe easier path to the field versus coming in and not being guaranteed a job at Ohio State per se. But I think if Ohio State's looking to bring you in and they give the green light to either of these kids, you should be pretty excited, because that means that they feel that they could step in right away at one of the tackle positions and help this team out next year.
So those are the three guys who we think Ohio State is, has a decent chance of potentially landing and who they are definitely actively pursuing. One name that I did want to mention that has been in the portal that I think everyone's eyebrows went up when it kind of crossed the wire is Derek Davis. He's a safety out of LSU. He was someone out of Western Pennsylvania. Mark Givler and I went and scouted him in person in that 2020 season on the week, on the way to the Penn State game that year. And then Ohio State was very seriously in the mix right till the end of the process there for him. He ended up going to LSU. Now he's in the portal. But Alex, it sounds like he is not someone who is very likely to necessarily end up at Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm hearing he went in with pretty much the intention of going to Pitt, which is his hometown school. And Pitt was in this one with Ohio State, Penn State, LSU. In his original recruitment. So I think that would be a great pickup for Pitt. I think he could go in there and start right away. I know I always thought it was weird that he went to LSU. Like, that wasn't he should have went to Ohio State or Penn State. And I'm not even saying he should have went to Ohio State. Like, I think Penn State would have been a really good fit for him too. I just don't think going that far from home just for the sake of it, was really the move. And clearly it didn't work out. I think he even got played at running back this year. Like, that's how bad it went for him. I don't know if he's just not the player that everyone thought he was, or again, it just wasn't the best fit, and he didn't get developed properly, and whatever it was, it just didn't work out. My initial thought was Ohio State should go after him just because I thought he was a great talent out of high school, and I think that they could use some help at safety for next year's roster. Personally, losing a couple guys, Hickman and McAllister, and maybe Ransom. I guess we haven't heard from him totally yet, but. After looking into it a little bit, I just don't think Ohio State's going to be interested here, and I think Pitt is probably where he ends up, and I think that that's a good fit for him.
All right, and if you're watching on YouTube, the background behind Alex is not Alex's normal background because Alex is not at home right now. Alex is on the road in the lead up to early signing day next week. Let people know, I know you need to run, but let people know very briefly where you are right now and what you're going to be doing in the next couple of days, because I'm going to guess we'll have you on again at some point before or on early signing day.
Yeah, sure thing. So, I'm in Frisco, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We're down here for the relaunched U.S. Army Bowl. The guys who originally launched the U.S. Army Bowl years ago ended up selling the rights to that. That's the game, the All-American Bowl on NBC right now. That's no longer called the Army Bowl. These guys relaunched a new high school football All-American game. Army is back as the title sponsor, so it's the U.S. Army Bowl. Taki's a big partner here too, and we're down here in Frisco. They got 80 of the country's best players down here competing in a game that's going to be played Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern on all the Bally Sports regional networks. So if you got Bally Sports Ohio or Bally Sports Great Lakes, you can tune in and watch it. You can stream it direct to consumer or cable subscription, and then it's going to be replayed on Bally Sports and Stadium. Arvell Reese, Ohio State linebacker commit from Glenville. Jelani Thurman, Ohio State tight end commit from down in Georgia, are both playing in the game. So if you're an Ohio State fan, definitely tune in, check out those guys. I've been down here watching them in practice the last couple of days. And then there's a signing day event on Wednesday down here as well, which is going to be streamed on Twitter and on all Stadium platforms. So from the Twitter handle at Stadium, you can watch the signing day event. Obviously, Arvell Reese is already signed, or not signed, committed for a long time and not going anywhere to Ohio State, but he will be signing his letter of intent on that show. So definitely tune into that. Really exciting stuff. But between this and all the storylines we're chasing for Ohio State, it's going to be a really exciting week.
Yeah, and this has been a great chance for Alex to get a little firsthand information from a lot of these guys, Ohio State and otherwise. We keep having threads pop up on our board. Hey, just talk to Arvell Reese. Hey, just talk to Jelani Thurman. So if you want to get some great inside information from Alex this week, the best place to do that is at BuckeyeHuddle.com. You can sign up today and get access to our huddle board and our fantastic team of insiders covering recruiting, the team, X's and O's, you name it. It's all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.